It's the English and English podcast. That's Eric.
That's Brett.
We're going to get this thing started.
I have my little booklet. Oh, I already pulled it out.
Yes, it is right here.
I already whipped it out. Excuse me while I whip this out. I think I was Blazing Saddles.
Yes, that is the reference.
We're going to try and answer some people's questions again.
I find it amusing, yes.
Yeah.
For those of you who may just be joining us this time for the past couple of podcasts, we've found it amusing to go find the Ask Amy or
Ask
Dear
Marilyn
Prudence.
or Prudence or whatever the
You
one.
know,
No, Ask Marilyn was the one who's had like a 205 IQ. So those aren't going to be the type of questions that we're looking for, like lifestyle advice type questions.
Right.
Not like,
Basically, people asking for life advice with relationships typically.
Yeah.
You know, whether work or romantic or personal, like family. And oftentimes they are fraught with stupidity. You know, the situations and the answers. And so it amuses us to tear them apart.
Exactly. So, let's see what they got. Let me go. We'll do it for Ask Amy.
All right.
I haven't looked it up yet. Yeah, I'll probably just... let me see what we got here. Okay, so here's a few of them. We'll have to pick which one we want. This one I don't really understand. It said,
let us sample the
teens hoping for gadgets should rake out rooms.
Rake?
I don't know if that means they should get rid of the stuff they have already.
I'm assuming, like, clean up your room in a weird way.
Groom wonders if grandma's deal is a scam.
Okay.
It's like, she's offered me eternal life for my soul, but I don't know if it's a scam or not.
Exactly. She said if I give her my firstborn,
right,
and sacrifice it upon her black wicked's
altar,
right, that my marriage will never fail and I'll get a new job.
Partners differ on privacy, so one probably shits with the door open.
Right, yeah. One has a camera.
Child's party's no fun when granny gets drunk. Man's close friend violates him and their friendship. I may have to read that one because that's an interesting way of saying, not like violates his trust. Violates him sounds like a physical,
rape,
like a physical violation.
Let's
read that one.
Clear answer.
Wait, there's another one I wanted to see.
He's not your friend anymore.
Oh yeah, and then man celebrates birthday by giving friends a dilemma. That one also sounds. I think we're imagining the most
horrendous,
not horrendous, but just the most
bizarre, or intriguing
versions of these. I imagine the guy sitting down and it's like, you
may
wonder why I brought you all here today. And he has like a button out in front of you, like one person will die, but you'll get $10,000.
One of the people in this room.
But like, but there's more thing. It's one person in this room.
Right, yeah.
See who lunges for the button first.
For the birthday party.
Exactly.
Somebody lunges for the...
All right, so let's see about the violation, because that one's just too weird.
Or no, it'd be even better for the red button. Be like, I happy birthday to so-and-so. I presented you with an opportunity. Whoever presses this button first, they will receive $10,000, but they will kill me when you press this button.
And so you're like,
and they press it, and then you're like,
get out of here, you fucking asshole! I always knew you were an asshole.
I always knew you were an asshole, Steve.
Get the fuck out of here.
You're not invited anymore.
And then he like goes to get the card back. He was like, leave it, like off the table.
Like you brought him presents.
Right.
Like,
he's like, leave it.
Leave it, asshole.
We should do a skit on that one. It's like, but I will die.
Right.
That's pretty funny. All right. Let's see about this anal violation or whatever this is.
Right.
He raped me while I was sleeping. I just don't know if we're friends.
Right. He tried the ear hole.
Oh, it's actually the first line is starting there. I'm a 28-year-old straight male. So this is my best friend from childhood, and I rent an apartment together. He came out to me when he was 18. I care about him as a brother. I'm an only child. We respect each other's boundaries, and I support him being gay. A couple of months ago, my girlfriend of 4 years ended our relationship, and I was crushed. During that time, my best friend told me he needed to tell me secretly he had sexual feelings towards me and wanted to know if I felt the same way. I told him I loved him as a brother, only did not share any sexual feeling toward him. After that night, I thought everything was okay. Things went back to normal, but a couple weeks ago, he came home drunk. He crawled into bed with me and tried to be sexual with me. Yeah.
Yep.
I've been avoiding him and have not been talking to him. I don't want to be in the same room alone with him right now, and I'm not sure what to do. I really do care for him like he's my own brother. I don't want to lose my friendship, but how can I get the point across that I'm not interested in him sexually? What do you mean? Tell him. He's like, you sad dude.
There's the ancient method of, dude, what the fuck? Don't be gay, right?
Then the lady says, dear Sad, crawling into bed and coming on sexually to a sleeping person is assault. I think that's a bit of a stretch.
Right, yeah.
It's very untoward and
it's
inappropriate.
Rude, inappropriate.
Yeah.
Now, if you want this guy to go to jail for the rest of his life...
Now, I can't say that it's not legally considered assault.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Know what I mean?
Like, you could respond in kind with it as assault, and like, the guys could have probably...
But they shouldn't. The fact is, it shouldn't be. You'd be like, get the fuck out of here.
The fact is, you should punch the guy in the mouth, when he tries, or elbow him and throw him out of the bed.
Touch me again, you're getting elbowed.
You're like, dude,
balls.
This is jeopardizing our friendship.
Yeah.
It's
not going to happen.
I know that you got whatever feelings, but I don't. If you can't live with that, move out. You know, like, you just got to put that foot down type shit. And then not worry about the friendship. Because the worst comes to worst, this person moves out.
Right.
Liable to actually help the friendship because...
He won't be like
same
tempted
thing. Like, imagine
or whatever.
with people of different genders.
Yeah, if it was a man and a woman.
Man and a woman,
thing.
one of them is in love, the other's not. Separation is probably the best way for them to get over it.
Yeah.
If they can't get over it in person, then...
So there was almost a real violation.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what was the other one? The dilemma, the grandma's deal.
So what do you think? What do you think? To make this really weird, what do you think his move was?
He probably did like a dick grab.
Just a straight dick grab.
Yeah, a straight dick grab.
Gay
I don't think the gay guys have like many
they don't
other
have any
moves.
swabs.
Yeah, well, I mean,
there's no touching the neck.
well, maybe, but I wouldn't consider that like a violation.
Right? Yeah, I would consider it off-putting. Right?
Yeah.
You know, unwanted attention.
But if someone like comes up and strokes your neck, I mean, it's weird and uncomfortable. But I would say that I've been violated if you tell them to stop and they stop. You know what I mean?
But I mean, like, no preamble, you think? No.
Yeah, I think it was straight dick grab.
Straight dick grab.
I think it was how you doing and touched him on the penis.
Right, yeah.
Might as well, right? If you're gonna,
I
whatever
guess,
you do it with boldness.
Right.
Let's see. What was the other ones? Which one do you think is more interesting?
Let's see the birthday
deal.
party.
Oh, the birthday
We know
party
where the
dilemma.
grandma's deal one is going. But the birthday party dilemma, I'm curious
It's
as
going
to
to be
what
way
it
less
lame.
exciting than
It's
we
like,
imagined.
He didn't match the shoes.
Or like you have to buy, like you have to, like my birthday
he
party.
overspent on the
and he
birthday
needs you to
gift
pay
limit,
for
made
it.
us all look bad when he bought a $50 gift and we had $10 gifts.
No, it's someone celebrating his own birthday. Man celebrates birthday by giving a dilemma. So he's probably like, you have to come to this thing and it's expensive or something like that.
I see.
You
Like,
know, that's
join
my
me in the
guess.
Bahamas.
Right, yeah, for my birthday, and if you don't, I'll take it personally.
Right, yeah.
Let's see what it is. My best friend has a special birthday coming up. I don't know what makes it special. He has invited friends to a special dinner. Oh, everything seems so special. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I bet he's a special snowflake. Is this guy like retarded?
I guess, I don't know.
Very special for a very special little man. Okay. Eurotrip.
Yeah.
Okay. This invitation includes myself, other individuals, and some couples. Some are people I know. This guy's retarded. He's basically said, this invitation includes me and other people.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
Give us something. Where's the meat of this conversation?
Some people are I know, some I don't. My dilemma is that he did not invite my partner. My partner has known him and his wife as long as I have. Other couples on the guest list include people with whom I have socialized many times. Initially, I thought her name was left off by mistake, so I called him. He explained there's no mistake. He was inviting only people with whom he felt especially close. He did not include her. He said there were also some other...
Oh, okay. So more specific.
That's weird, though. Like, I mean, it goes beyond, like, if you don't feel close to someone, who gives a fuck? If you're going to invite someone, obviously their girlfriend or something,
Yeah,
you're not like, don't bring your girlfriend.
Right, yeah.
Unless there was some sort of falling out that's, like, understood ahead of time. Like, hey, I'm cool with you if you don't bring her.
Sounds like what it probably is I'm imagining this guy and his girl, like, she probably doesn't like his girlfriend.
Right.
The writer's girlfriend is not liked by the host's girlfriend.
If even
so
has
he's
one.
the intermediary with some, like,
his wife. It
passive-aggressive
says and his wife. So, yeah,
Right.
his wife is probably
His
like, I don't
wife's
like her and
I
his
don't like
girlfriend.
that bitch.
She
You
can't
know,
come.
She can't come. And so he's got to give some, like...
But that's also fucked up.
non-committal
Like, I don't give a fuck if someone doesn't want someone there. But don't just be like, hey, like, Brett, you're invited. And you're like, so I'd be like, you have to tell them, like, hey, dude, I'm having a birthday. I'd love you to come.
code-
Don't bring your... Yeah,
bro
don't
code
bring,
is,
don't just
you know,
send one
and also
invitation to you. You have to
being
ask.
honest, dude,
'Cause
be like, look.
well, first of all, most of the time, if someone did that to me...
Yeah.
I wouldn't even think to ask. I would just show up with the girlfriend if they were coming.
Right,
And
yeah,
which-
exactly. I
So
would've
your
said,
whole
like,
purpose would have been
I've
completely...
received plenty of invitations where it did not say your girlfriend is
I mean,
invited.
it depends on the situation. If they're like going out for a month or less, or like really short period of time, it's excusable. But if you've been going out for a while and you said, "Hey, dude, you want to come?" It's sort of expected this person's probably
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Really
Like,
high
I never
chance going to
questioned
show
it.
up.
If it doesn't say both our names, I don't
Right.
think, they can't come. I better ask.
Right? Yeah,
Maybe it's
exactly.
like them.
Because why the hell would you invite someone if you didn't want their girlfriend to come or boyfriend without explicitly saying?
Like, unless the
Like, I don't think it's
RSVP
fucked up that the guy
card
doesn't want
said Mr. and Mrs. and the Mrs. was crossed
Yeah, like, crossed out,
You know,
yeah.
like other than that, I wouldn't think anything. I would just be like,
Yeah,
Mr. English, would you like to attend? Certainly.
Right.
And then
Especially if the guy's like your friend and doesn't really know
Right,
her
yeah.
that well. Because, like, not being close is different than, like, I don't want you there.
Right. So, advice, alpha move.
See. I mean, it's not done
don't
yet.
ask. Just show up with your girlfriend.
Well, that wouldn't even mean alpha. I just wouldn't even think about
Look,
it.
that's why it's an alpha.
Yeah, well, that's why. Yeah.
Donald Trump doesn't ask anybody if his mistress can come to the event.
My partner was devastated by being left out, and I feel in a terrible quandary about whether to attend. I probably wouldn't attend in that case.
No, in that case, if it's been made explicit, your dilemma is whom you're going to satisfy.
Right.
Then you just say to your friend, who's not been forthcoming to the reason why this one person versus this other people, be like, okay, well, I mean, I can't attend. I mean, like, I would be happy to attend, man, but I can't leave her out. You know, like,
I'm not going to leave her out just because
that's awkward.
Not unless there was. I mean, I'm assuming there's something that's being left out of the story here. Like you said, like even if it's as simple as the wife doesn't.
To him,
right?
Somebody's not telling him something.
This guy's not just going to be like, I don't know you that well. You're not invited. I mean, or maybe they didn't mention that.
Unless
like
you happen to know every other couple's super weird. Maybe
or
all the
like
others are part of the swinger group, and they all know each other.
Or some limited number of seats for this thing, or something like. It just doesn't make sense otherwise.
No.
Or this guy like really hates this woman and just hasn't told him.
I'm telling you, that's what it is. It's one of them.
Maybe him or his wife. But
him or his wife.
I don't feel close. He probably just hates her.
Or maybe they banged at one point in the wife.
Yeah, and he doesn't want. Or he doesn't want the dude to be like, oh, like he saw her picture on Facebook and he's like, oh shit, this girl like.
Yeah, exactly. Something went on there at some point.
Your friend is cherry picked among this crowd and invited some couples together, but excluded other spouses. I'm only inviting people I like most. You win. Basically, is what he said. I can't comment on the propriety of this exclusion because this really is about a guy celebrating himself by being explicitly mean towards others. I don't think that it's necessarily being mean. I think he's being stupid.
Yeah,
it's not practical. Let's say he's doing it in a very impractical way.
Right. If you have a situation in which somebody creates a disturbance, you have to just be forthright. Everybody tries to be polite and like not.
I definitely don't think there's a lot of people who say
go.
It's automatically fucked up to like only invite the dude, not the woman, which I disagree with because there's so many variables.
Yeah,
like there could be plenty of situations where it's totally
at the last
reasonable.
party.
Well, the guy could be
so
a fucking.
Drunk
she could be a
and
fucking
punched
lunatic.
a baby.
Or he's just an annoying piece of shit, and he's like,
right.
dude, you're my bro. If you want to come, cool, but I don't want this bitch here.
Right. This guy could be a whipped little...
You have to also realize that if you do that, the guy's probably not going to show up.
Right.
But I mean, as long as you're upfront about it. He just did it like a pussy and was like, passive-aggressive. We did it passive-aggressively. Right, he's like, you're invited. He's like, to the point where he was so passive-aggressive that he had to fucking ask.
Right.
He didn't even really
obviously
know.
something was off.
Right. Well, he just didn't even know.
Right.
He was just like, so is she not invited?
You just got to be like... Nah, I'm sorry. My wife and
the fact
your
that he
girl
says
don't
partner makes it seem like they've been going out for at least a while.
Yeah. And by the way,
I mean, it could be a woman and her gay partner.
Don't use that word when you have a girlfriend.
Partner?
Don't use partner.
Well, it's weird because well,
you can on occasion, but
because girlfriend, it has the same weight as. Like, if you've been going out for a week and you see my girlfriend, or you've been going out 8 years and you're like, my girlfriend, it's taken the same.
You know what? That is a good point.
The problem is partner, there is nothing if they're not there, it sounds like you're talking about a business partner or you're gay.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
But there's nothing real.
You're right, there's a problem. There's nothing between
this dude
wife
I know
and girlfriend.
Who I used to work with at UF, he says, he just says lover, my lover.
Yeah, there you go.
I like that one. He's like, my lover.
Yeah.
He leaves that.
Makes
like,
sound
okay, I know what's going on there then.
Yeah.
Which is what you're saying anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That's all
yeah,
I'm saying.
my lover. I say concubine sometimes.
Right, yeah, there you go. There's some fun you can have.
But I mean, if you're in like a professional setting, girlfriend sounds almost like immature. You know what I mean? Like, what else do you say?
I say just introduce them. You know, just be like, this is Samantha. And then they're like, who is Samantha? And you're like, on your arm. There you go.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like, if you're... Yeah, it's just, there's situations where you have to use some sort of euphemism.
I get you. But I'm talking about when people, like, I see plenty of people say partner because it's the PC.
Yeah, that's why they're saying
and that's why it's annoying.
And it is annoying, I get it.
Now, I will grant you, as you said, I never thought of that before, but you're right. There are situations where you don't have a better word. Because girlfriend sounds like you've been dating for a year, perhaps.
But most,
To some people, it sounds like it's not that serious, even though you may have been dating for a year.
Well, there's just no telling how serious it is.
Right. And then you're not... A lot of people aren't married in the old way anymore, so it's like...
The old way.
Because all the legal things that we have said before have altered that, and it does not exist anymore. But, not in the West, anyway. But... All right, let's see the drunken grandma before.
Well, what does he say?
Oh, finish
if
up.
If I were you, I would respond. It's hard to feel honored by the opportunity to celebrate your life of such a jerk. I'll join you at the movies. No, there's no reason to be a fucking passive aggressive dick. See, that's the problem. Women are always passive aggressive. They always take everything personally.
Yeah.
And they're passive aggressive about it. Well, they let everything like. Why are you even wasting this much mental energy? Like, obviously, the guy wants him to be there. I don't think he invited this guy just as a way to dig the girlfriend by not inviting her.
Yeah.
She probably actually wants to do it. He's too much of a pussy or socially awkward that he doesn't know how to do it properly.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's no reason to be all butthurt about it. Like, this guy's not allowed has to like all his girlfriends. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, no, if he doesn't like this person,
the thing is,
I shouldn't want him there.
You got to figure out. You
ask
shit. At a point. Is like,
well, the dude should have been
jeopardize
open
the
about
friendship
it.
or not? Like, you got to decide for yourself. If you have a significant other who not all your friends like that much,
yeah,
can you be okay with that? Will you still be their friends, or do you say, "Hey, man, no, this is what I'm all about"?
Right.
Like, me and her.
Or do you say, "I can hang out with this dude, and I don't need her to be there every time I do anything"?
Right, but that's what I'm saying. That's your decision. Personally, I'm the kind of guy.
It depends too.
Like,
that if it was like,
I've never been placed in that position, but I just
neither
don't
have I
pick
really. But if it was in
parties.
town. If it was, I just can't see myself. There's very few situations where I can see myself being friends with a person who didn't want to hang out with a girlfriend, and also be girlfriend with the person who my friends didn't like.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean?
I've just been never the kind of person that dated so much of a harpy that my friends
or
could
been
not
friends
get
with
along
someone who is just going to be all stick up their butt and be like, I don't like your new girlfriend. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because if they're annoying, either way,
people.
it means that your friend's weird or your girlfriend's weird.
Right.
It's impossible to have them all be cool and not get along with each other.
Right. Yeah. You can have people that are all cool that just don't really care about each other. Like,
right,
they're
not
about
getting mad if they're
stuff,
there.
But they don't care if they're there.
I mean, worse would be like, dude, I can't stand this chick's laugh or something
right,
stupid.
yeah, exactly. Like,
or like the shit
only
music she
into
listens
this
to.
Stuff
or her
I
friends
hate.
or whatever. Yeah,
exactly.
But like...
But it's not like they can't stand to have them.
Yeah, just wouldn't even want them to be there. Like, you don't even come
hours.
if you're bringing this chick kind of thing.
Right, yeah, exactly.
So that, I don't understand the situation. But in general... People act like it's wrong to ever exclude anyone, and that's bullshit.
Right. No, that I agree with. Like, the whole point of so many things well, not the whole point, but the whole way that so many organizations, families, groups exist in society is because you have some that are us and some that are not us.
Yeah.
People like to decry the us versus them thing, but it's like, that's the only way, like, if everything was undifferentiated, you wouldn't have cells. You wouldn't have, like, nature
It's just the way
organizes.
it works.
It's
that
just the way
kind of
it
goes
works.
to a point that I was going to bring up before we move on to the grandma with risk of derailing. It's actually good though because they don't have something to go back to and
Right,
stall out. Is that I was reading something that I don't know if he actually said this or if it was quoted accurately. I imagine that it probably was, but let me see if I can find it.
Who?
It was something about Bill Nye being
he's
like,
beginning to infuriate.
he's an
me.
idiot. He's just being all PC and using science as a shield to hide behind this bullshit.
And not only that, but he's just trying to maintain his relevancy after shows been canceled by championing the current most,
Anyways, he had this thing where he's like,
shit.
There's no such thing as race. Science is debunked. Like,
one of those
we're all
Facebook
one
memes
people.
that everybody, I don't know
So
if
I'm
it was
assuming
him.
he really said that because they're credit to him.
The
and
point
I've
is,
heard it
science
several
has
places.
specifically said the opposite. So
Well,
the very fact that genetic testing works proves that people are
that's what I was
different
gonna get
inherently, down to the molecular
see, he may have said
level.
something that people totally took out of context.
Yeah. Like, that I don't know. But is it just one of those memes from, like, I fucking love science or whatever that, has made the rounds plenty of times? I've
Let
seen
me see
that.
if I can find it, because the way that this particular one was worded made it particularly stupid.
Yeah, retarded. But regardless of how it is worded, while you're looking it up there, like, one of the things is that it is just inherently false to begin with, because science has specifically proven genetics is more
at
and more
best
proving.
he's playing word games,
Right.
By like what race means. It's like, I don't give a fuck what race means. Like, you would have to, unless you're literally claiming that there's no genetic subgroups among a species.
Right.
Then if you are, you're an idiot. If you're not, then you're playing word games, so shut the fuck up.
Right, that's what
Because
I'm
you would
saying.
have to simultaneously be claiming that there's no such, you're like, we're all one species. Who is saying that humans are not one species?
Right.
Dogs are all one species too. Are you saying that there's no
race,
such thing as breed?
They don't mean that that cats and dogs are the same. They mean like the race is...
They mean breeds. They're saying breeds.
Yeah,
No one's saying
subgroups.
that dogs are not the same species. But that doesn't mean that you can't
There's
look at the
vast
skull
variety
of
in
one.
dog.
You can look at the skull of a human and tell what skin color they have.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Or look at one cell and tell what type of hair they have.
With genetic testing, you
part of the
take
country
one
they're from.
cell, you can tell what their ancestry was for the
Again,
most
like
part.
we've gone back to before, is the problem is not. The problem is that they automatically, the liberals and the progressives and the worst of all the social justice, they're all read out. But the way that they that they fuck it up is they always confer value statements to these things. When you say when I say all these breeds of dogs are different, no one thinks that I'm saying that like some are better than the other. I mean, some people might, but when you say it with humans, they automatically think because they're so fucking self-conscious about it.
They're self-conscious because they secretly know and fear it.
Yeah,
they hate.
Well, they fear the consequences of like admitting that not everyone's created equal,
right?
Or same, for lack of a better word.
Like I've said before, and I think we've talked about this on podcasts before. It's like they can't admit inequality because to them the physical world is all that matters. So if you are unequal, like this person is smarter than you, this person is stronger, then fuck, we need to kill them because they are a threat to us.
Or we're just going to go Harrison Bergeron on them and drag people down to the lowest denominator.
Or the strong will liquidate us at all times. Like because there is no moral center to their value system beyond the physical or what you can get away with.
Yeah, they project since they're like basically don't see any value beyond what can be measured. Then they think that the measurements have to come up equal or it's going to be a problem.
Right, yeah. If we could measure literally that you're smarter and cooler than me, then I'm going to...
Yeah, unless you're saying that there's no such thing as breeds of dogs or any genetic subgroup.
Yeah, no, I've
just
seen that
playing
one
fucking stupid word games.
Like
you think race has been scientifically disproven? It's like, only if you're using some rando definition of when most people say race, they're saying a breed, just like a subgroup of dogs.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
race is specifically
a local genetic subgroup.
Race is a word that came about because of scientific categorization. You know, from a categorization.
So it's complete horseshit.
From
this leads
animal
all the people
studies.
who follow whose knowledge of science is limited to following I fucking love science.
Right, that bastion of true science.
Exactly, of truth and reason.
Actual scientific method employed every day on Facebook memes.
That's what I want to see. I want to be like, okay, Bill Nye. What was the hypothesis here, and how was it exactly disproven using a scientific method?
Yeah, that's the other one too. With like
that's another thing. People act like science it doesn't work in the negative. You don't necessarily disprove things. You prove hypothesis. A lot of times you can't ever prove something to be 100%. False.
Yeah.
No, I mean like you can prove things to be true a lot more easily than you can prove a negative.
Oh,
like disproving something.
But like
sometimes
that's why a lot of stuff
go hand in hand. But
that's why a lot of stuff that people call science is not really science because proving the negative is known to be
because not everything's falsifiable. Like if I say there is a God, that's not falsifiable.
Just like evolution, you can't say evolution is
certain aspects of it will be falsifiable.
Right, but I mean, like certain aspects of
just like certain aspects of Christianity would be falsifiable or any other religion.
But that's why it's like it's difficult. Like nobody with any scientific knowledge denies that genetic change happens. Right, so there are aspects of evolution that do occur. But evolution from speciation, like where things radically change to a new species, has never been proven yet. The mechanism by which it's supposed to happen has never been
and they can't answer a bunch of fundamental questions about how or why it happens. Either.
Right, yeah.
And what's really funny is I saw a Vox get on this one time that he was like, basically, because it gets them to their wheels spinning when it comes to like dealing with race. It's like, so which of these genetic subgroups
is more evolved?
Well, how many speciations or like mutations does it take per speciation?
Right. Yeah.
And which one
of the groups time of speciation?
And like which group is further or has more mutations towards the speciation.
Right, yeah.
It was more evolved, basically. Right, yeah, and they're like, oh no, one group more evolved than others.
Right, yeah.
Does not compute.
Yeah, that's another thing that's so dumb.
Even if it hasn't happened yet, it would have to literally happen. At some point, one genetic subgroup is going to have according to them, have a mutation that will make them more evolved. But again, and it comes back to the whole stupid thing that
or evolved into something different.
That's what I mean.
Not
that's
more
what
as a value statement of better.
That's what I was going to say. To them, if you said more evolved, that means you're better. Even though it doesn't. It just means you're a different species.
That's what I mean. Evolution. Like this idea that evolution
automatically goes to an improvement.
A lot of scientists, I will grant, don't say this, but a lot of them kind of, like the average person thinks this, that evolution is automatically an improvement. That's not true.
No. Well, it wouldn't be based on the mechanism. It would only be whatever furthers your survival, basically, which could make you worse. Like if humans were less adapted to some environment or something.
Right. Well, just it's survival. That's the problem with the survival of the fittest moniker of early like Darwinian evolution. Yeah. It's wrong. It's survival of the breedingest. Whichever has the most generations. Has the most genetic chance for mutation or everything else. Even though that mutation system has never been proven. This idea of idea of random mutations and ecological pressures causing vast speciation has not been proven yet. It has been proven that genetics can be altered by things like mutations and whatever, but typically it's negative.
Yeah.
And also ecological pressures like the environment tend to also be negative. like radiation or poisons or something like that. You tend to
Yeah.
have problems, not improvements.
Another thing that it certainly seems that most of these changes happen way more quickly than the supposed, like the environmental changes, even natural ones, happen way more quickly than these supposed speciations anyway.
Adapt, yeah. Like, and also the other thing too that's always crazy to me is that I guess like I said, like to me, like the idea of evolution occurring over time can definitely happen. In
Adaptation.
We just don't know the mechanisms by which it's
basic.
possible.
Yeah, exactly. They don't understand it. But instead of saying that, they because it's dogma now.
Yeah.
So they have ego
Well,
and stuff tied up in it.
Most infuriating about the dogma of it is like the idea that we just sprung from nothing is where it gets troublesome to me because like you don't understand probabilities. That was a good thing. Another article by
we talked about
Fred
this
Reed.
before.
We talked about this before. Like people like to say, well, you've had millions of years and the probabilities is like no. Just because there's a 1% chance, like that's the joke in Dumb and Dumber, right? You got a 1 in a million chance.
Yes,
so you're saying I have a chance. Yeah.
More like 1 in a million.
Like that's not exactly how probabilities work. Like people don't understand that like increasing improbabilities and like for example the Fred Reed article makes good use of the metaphor of the typing monkeys typing out Shakespeare.
Right.
And he's like that's a bad example because that would never happen.
Right.
Because the whole point is that you have a system that one monkey typing randomly, the chance of getting one word in a full page is a high chance, like a rare chance.
Like very low probability.
Very low probability they're going to get one word. Now, the way probabilities work is you got to multiply that chance times the chance they'll write 2 words in a row.
Right.
Then
it has to be the chance that the randomly will be the right 2 words
to form the first sentence, the first 2 words of the sentence of Shakespeare.
Right.
Then all of those monkeys will have to. It's not a random chance that all those monkeys will happen to all type the words that you could combine to make Shakespeare. It's the random chance that all those monkeys, out of all those monkeys, one of them will happen to type by randomly selecting the letters every time, every single letter correctly to write Shakespeare. Fucking not gonna happen, you know. Like it's,
and obviously that's just an example. But the point is that when you're using it's sort of a good example in that respect because it's saying like it's only possible technically in like the most abstract way, and not like it's not going to happen. Kind of thing. And even when it's like, well, if you do it billions of times, like no, it doesn't matter.
There's nothing to prove. It's like millions of chances. Like to me, the one thing about
what are all these dice rolls that they're talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Like if life could spring,
you don't just
nothing,
hit a button like try again. Try again.
That implies like intelligence doing
or at least something happening.
But if
there were no attempts,
life was not there and random chemical processes could just spawn it accidentally, we should see that happening some places still.
Right, yeah.
Because it can't be that the situation on Earth is less conducive to life now.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, new single-cell organisms should be cropping up.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot going on that they just don't understand, and they're not willing to even say, we don't have this down yet. Because
but also, the one thing to
me
that is most crazy is certain adaptations of organisms would not happen if evolution was the driving force for their reason to develop these things.
Right.
For example, sex. Sex would never happen. People like to talk about how sexual...
Because there's no reason to be sexual when you can be asexual. And
right, well, it's not like that. Reasons don't matter for evolution.
Right.
It's accidents. It's all accidents.
Yeah, I know.
So
I'm saying, like,
how did a penis and a vagina both accidentally develop at the same time?
I said at like... I always use the example of, like, a bird. Something that's perfectly adapted or designed to be able to do something incredibly difficult, flying. You know how many specific things have to be just so with something like a bird to be able to get it to fly?
So how did all the mutant species that couldn't fly survive?
Because you're saying, unless you're talking about something that didn't have functional flying, just had this mutation that was perfect out of nowhere, which they're not even saying. So they're saying there was a bunch of totally just would have been random mutations that just happened each time to get it closer, but those mutations would have actually made them, because they've got these like floppy fake vestigial less likely or like lighter, more fragile bones that they can't fly yet.
They got good wings but a heavy body, so they can't fly.
Or their bones are lighter already, but they're more fragile. Like all these things that would not make them anywhere near being more adaptive, but they just have to somehow keep those. And not only that, mate with another one that has sort of, or at least
similar
will pass on those genes before they've adapted enough that they're a different species.
Right, and no longer can.
And that, I was thinking about that too. Like, okay, so then you finally have a mutation that speciates one organism.
Yeah.
Out of every... We haven't even seen this yet, apparently, in human history.
Yeah, but now who's it going to breed?
Right, so then it has to happen twice, which in the lifespan...
Within the same generation.
And in the same location.
Where
and they have to like each other.
Yeah.
Because you could put like 2 random lions in the same pen, that are already perfectly adapted for mating, and
they
the
might
chance
not
that they
mate.
like each other is probably not going to.
They might not get
good.
along. Yeah,
and
sometimes-
if the mating may not even be successful anyway. So
They already
it's
have
just these
problems with
odds are like
mating, you know?
absurd, and it's supposed to even over millions and millions of iterations. You're talking,
Right.
you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't take into account, like, they take as a gospel
The mundane
fact this idea
realistics.
that because
you're just like
probability
running
says
numbers
it
on a
could
computer.
happen.
Right.
It's like, okay, but you're not talking about the cost of the millions of failures that are going to happen.
Not only
to
the
get
cost of it, but you're not taking into account that, like, oh, if I do this 1 out of a billion things a billion times, that it eventually happens. Like,
Right,
there hasn't
because-
been
right.
a billion instances of two things mutating in the same 6-week period, like an insect or something that lives
Right.
6 weeks. Black soldier flies are fertile adults to mate for like 5 days.
Right, yeah.
And they only live within like a quarter-mile range or something.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're saying these things just happen to mutate to where they could mate with another similar thing within that period and in the same exact same location, like
yeah.
same block, basically.
Now, yeah, back to like just to take
don't
it
get
even
billions
back
of
down to the
chances
basic
of that
building
happening.
case of just like
Because
single
if
cell
it did, you would see these fake, like, mutants, like, speciated things that just die without ever reproducing happening. They would have to happen all the time.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was saying earlier. Like,
Not even
you
all
see
the time,
new
like every
species-
day, but at least every few
We would have
years. Or
reported
at least with
evidence
every
of it.
few thousand years. Jesus.
Especially, we would have caught at least one in all the time that the scientific apparatus has been as it is.
Right.
Like, as we've known about
Because even all
this,
the
started
crazy
reporting-
mutations we've seen of complex organisms, because I'm not talking about single-cell organisms. You do see mutations in viruses and stuff like that.
Right.
But complex organisms, first of all, none of them are, like, advantageous, first of all. And
On
none of them
average,
have been,
right.
like, speciated.
Nothing speciated. We've had breeds. Like, obviously, we breed animals and get new breeds all the time. So we know that you can cause genetic evolution in that way. But, like, random mutations, and that's a guided process, so to speak, you know. Anyway, like, yeah, it's just to me, like, you can have a single-cell organism. They all spawn from nothing, let's say. So the first one bubbles up accidentally.
Yeah.
And it is asexual, so that makes sense. Like, okay, all these
Right, like a mule
new
or whatever.
organisms, not even like a mule, which is sterile, but like asexual single cell organisms.
Asexual. I thought you said sterile, yeah.
Yeah, no, I said asexual
Right.
single cell organisms. One in a gabillion chance pops out of a
And then it
heat
can
vent in
reproduce
the ocean.
itself,
So it
yeah.
reproduces itself. So all of a sudden now there's life, and there's thousands of these one kind of thing.
Yeah, that okay.
That okay. Still, I don't understand how does this thing spawn with the ability to recreate itself?
Well, they say like a billion out of a billion times. Like, times of what? What were the things that, like, just that there's stuff there, and
Right,
eventually
yeah.
it'll spawn out.
Right, so like, yeah, like what? Let's say like you just got lucky, and the first thing
just
that created with
happened.
life, or one of the things that got created with life, also got created accidentally with the capacity to reproduce.
But see, now you're at the
itself.
point where, like, even if you believe that, which I don't care, that's a theory.
Yeah. What does
Why,
that mean?
does that kind of crazy theory really be? Is that more ridiculous than, like, some random religion?
Right.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? That there was a super being that
Yeah.
spawned out of nothing,
Right.
and he created
Not
everything.
saying that any of them have it all down, but that's my point: is that none of it, whether science or religion,
Right.
knows everything, and at least science is just the arrogant bastard right now that likes not science itself, but a lot of
Yeah.
scientists like to assume that they know with a conviction that would make most priests, you know, look like doubting Thomas.
Right.
You know, like.
Right.
But anyway,
So now we'll go back to
we'll go back to Grandma's drunk birthday party. Get on something there,
Yeah.
but no, there's plenty. That's another thing we'll have to round up for some laughs, mostly for infuriation. But all those like memes like that, there's so many of them that just get
Which is what
circulated.
meme
Just
destruction.
bad. Yeah, exactly. You are wrong. Like segment. Like nope, you are wrong. Like segment where we just tear apart these memes because there's so many of them. Just the tritest comments that people bandy about, you know, to signal how good they are. I believe this shit.
so
You know, like
hot garbage.
Garbage.
Everyone's turning into such an easily at this point
Yeah.
now. I'm just like I just revel now in destroying people's fragile sensibilities. I'm just
I need
like
to get
Vegeta
more-
being like,
I need to be more like brutal about it. 'Cause
Yeah.
I still like, I guess, trying to be like civil, and I just need to be like, no, I need to not worry about having these people have a fair opinion of you because, like, who needs people who think like this? I mean, it's infuriating. It is literally infuriating. And what's so infuriating about it is because, like, all
Well, that's the thing. It's no longer infuriating me anymore. I just mock them.
right. It's still infuriating to me, I guess. I'm still in the
Turn it
stage
into
of being
joy.
infuriated where I'm just like,
The battle.
Dear
this,
God,
just
how
let
can
them
you
just
fucking
realize
be-
that the battle lines have been drawn.
well, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Like, but I'm still just infuriated because it's like, I guess, an assault on the truth, or even just the truth of knowing that we don't know everything, or that these things are not that hard line. Like, you don't know.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. You know. Anyway, let's move on to humorous things. Grandma gets drunk at birthday
This is all
parties.
humorous.
Oh, it's all
Telling
humorous.
me the quote unquote science guy saying that there's no such thing as race is humorous to me.
Yes, exactly. There's no such thing as race.
It's a laugh riot.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
well, like I said, it's a literal war on reality.
Yeah, exactly.
You're trying to get, like,
at this point,
this
is
said,
the case
all
of
he's
a
really trying to
scientist
do-
telling you that you shouldn't be able to tell the difference between an elephant and a rhino.
Well,
You know,
those are
like
like different species, but he's saying the difference between a Labrador and a Chihuahua.
well, there you go. Better example.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
like,
no
don't
difference.
look, everyone's the same.
Right.
There's no such thing as race. And like I said, it's fucking... He's either a complete imbecile, who's an insult to anyone who considers himself science guy,
right.
or he's purposefully playing word
Which
games
we know it's that
to
one.
pull the wool over dumber people's eyes to get them to believe
Well,
politically correct nonsense.
It's not to pull the wool. It's to.
Well, I mean, to get them to
sort
believe
of,
politically
but it's more
correct
that
nonsense.
He believes it. You know, it's
Yeah.
He's a true believer of this stuff, and like to him, science will lead. Like that's the problem. Is that science is no longer used. I mean, it's everything has been used in this way by different groups. It's not used to find the truth. It's used to justify what they want to be true.
Yeah.
You know, so they're trying to find science that justifies what they want to be true, which is this world in which we can all get along and all. But the point is, their idea for how we all get along is to ignore our differences. They can't be different and get along. That's the big lie there. Is to them, they talk about diversity, but then they have to say science says we're not really that diverse.
Right.
Because to them, if we were different, we couldn't get along. Because to them, it's the herd mentality, and you have to ostracize the outsider. That's why there's all this shame language and, like, you know, thought policing and shit. Because to them, you have to all be the same
point,
mentally, or you can't.
the way to do it to not be
they're
mad
afraid of anybody
is
who
to-
thinks differently.
Yeah, the mission now for you to not be mad. This is what the journey that I've embarked on too.
Yeah.
Is just to look at it as an ability to take pride in pissing these people off. Dude, it's like here's
get behind that.
another opportunity.
Another opportunity to show myself,
Yeah,
do the
exactly.
Harrison Bergeron and
Yeah,
show
exactly.
your superiority.
Even as I stand here before you, crippled, hollowed, and buckled, or whatever.
Hobbled.
I'm greater than any man who has ever lived.
Yeah,
Now
right.
see me become what I can become.
Right.
And then go Super Saiyan.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And you could be like, now I've got a better idea. Why don't I pick on somebody my own size? That should be in something. It's not, by the way. I was just watching Dragon Ball. That would have been a great... Because Vegeta said something about, why don't you pick on someone your own size?
Yeah.
And I was like, it would have been a much better thing if he, like, powered up and was like, I've got a better idea. Why don't I pick on someone my own size and just, like, beat the shit out of him?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Because, like, he wants to be the bully.
Right, yeah, exactly.
All right, let's see what the grandma's fucking stupid dilemma is. I hope if it was something like witchcraft, would this be the best thing ever?
Right, yeah. Or like a Bernie Madoff scheme or something.
Right, yeah, like a Ponzi scheme. Like a
Grandma's
grandma's
Ponzi
annuity
scheme.
every week, and it'll
Right.
tell, yeah, that would be awesome. We can only hope.
Right. Grandma's futures credits scheme.
Yeah.
Like oil. Housing futures.
This winter and 2 months ago, my grandmother informed me, without asking first, that she purchased a honeymoon package for me and my fiance. She apparently purchased this package via the phone, has no documentation as to when, where, how long this honeymoon package is. Oh, she got
so
scammed.
she got scammed.
Yeah.
So somebody sold her, and she's like, "Well,
Grandma's
I'm not
deal is a
interested."
scam.
But
Oh, okay, it's not a deal for them. It's a deal.
No, okay,
yeah. So
like-
she was like
she
gave them
was
their
like-
credit card information over the phone,
Right, she's
and it was like, "Oh, you have a honeymoon." Like, so where's
why
the
did I
paperwork?
buy
Oh, I
this
don't
for
know.
my grandson? Like,
Right.
I don't need the timeshare, but my grandson could use a honeymoon suite.
Yeah, she said she apparently purchased this. She told me she received a letter a little over a month ago that told her the vacation package information packet would be mailed to her within 2 weeks. Well, hopefully she used her credit card and she could just tell them it was a fake charge, but she probably didn't. They know better than that.
Yeah. These days, you should get an email like
The time
that,
has
like
obviously
she
passed and still no information. My grandmother is known to fall for scams. Remember the Nigerian prince? And she's purchased many bogus timeshare properties from telemarketers.
Dear
Many?
God.
Many
Who
bogus?
has this much money?
Yeah,
when they think like
that
this,
idiot.
like,
Yeah.
how is it that like what is wrong with this world that the smart people like struggle to get by sometimes, and the idiots can like have money to waste?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dear God.
Let me see. I want to see what happens. I don't want to keep
Numerous
bothering her.
times.
Numerous. How many bogus times for her? I don't want to keep bothering her over what is possibly a generous gift, but I also don't want to find out last minute that I'm having my honeymoon somewhere in North Dakota in the middle of February. What should I do? Obviously, I don't think it's real.
You gotta
got
just be
completely
honest
scammed.
again. Another case where like people are too worried about being
Yeah. They're literally worried about, like, they'd rather let it wait to be a situation that's worse for everyone. Because it's worse for the if it's real honeymoon package, it's worse for the grandmother, too, to wait and then be like, oh, sorry, I can't go. It's better to be like, you know what, honestly, I think you may have been scammed. If not, I think you should try and get your money back because we already have our stuff planned. I super appreciate it, but
we were so kind.
Without knowing, we already went ahead and did our own thing.
Right. Or even just say, like, without them sending this information, I can't make plans without having this in concrete.
I can't wait because
so
then everything
I have to make other plans. I'm sorry.
Right.
I will help you get your money back through the credit card.
It doesn't, obviously it's a scam because you didn't know where it was.
Well, no, it's obviously a scam, too, because they said 2 weeks to get information.
There's no documentation as to where or when or how long.
Who can be
What kind of fucking idiot? I know. You don't even know what
his grandfather died, leaving her money to misspend this way.
It all away. That's insane. How can you pay for something you literally didn't know what it was? They just say a honeymoon package. What does that even mean?
Yeah.
It could be like a fucking gay honeymoon package in Taiwan. I don't know.
I don't understand that humanity.
That's why I've
this
given
is another
up
case against evolution.
Humanity's
made it this far.
I don't feel bad for these people anymore. Like, you can't. Yeah. Life's too short. This fucking person. I would if I had to push a button and I would get $3 to have this person disappear from the planet. I would do it. I would probably do it if I had to pay $3.
Right? Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. I don't believe that all human life is created equal.
That's a kind of socialism I can get behind.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that they do these scam tests, and everyone who falls for it, they just liquidate all your assets.
Or like Bill Burr's plan,
right?
Where he's like, only the top 10% and everything they do gets to stay. And he's like, I know I wouldn't make it.
Right,
I'm okay with that. Like, I'm not top 10% comedian, so I've accepted it.
Right, yeah. That's my sacrifice.
Right, exactly. For all you're still here.
Right, yeah. No, I said, like, you do the socialism, like, instead of just always taxing people, you just run constant scams but for shadow government organizations.
Yeah.
And you siphon it off the stupid and give it back to the country.
Yeah. I don't understand. Like, it's beyond just, like, old people not knowing about, like, the internet.
Yeah.
It's way beyond that.
I understand that there's difference because, like...
And obviously this isn't even, like, dementia.
There was always, before the internet, that risk. Like, back in their day when they got married, you had to send away for it and be mailed back.
There are also times that I'm like, I don't know if this is legit, but... You have to, like, to either look for certain obvious signs, like not knowing what the fuck you're buying, or you take steps like using a credit card as opposed to giving someone your bank account information.
Right.
And stuff.
Or you should say, like, if they say that you'll take 2 weeks, I'm like, why so long? That's a little while.
Or not even take it, but like, do I get a receipt number?
Receipt number, a confirmation
and if you
code?
want to do the things the safe way and they don't want to, then at that point you probably say, even if this is real, I'm not willing to risk
it because
it's not good enough
like
of a
that,
deal.
It's all okay.
Or it's probably,
but then I would try to do something to be like covering
even
bases.
More safer, yeah.
And I'd be like, okay, so what's the confirmation code or what exact location?
Or let's do this in person, or even a little bit shady, and you're like, you know what?
Never mind. Yeah,
it's not worth it. Because rarely is something such a good deal that it's worth risking that shit.
Yeah.
And the more of a good deal it seems, it's factually more likely to be fake anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see what she says. You should immediately offer to take this off your hands and contact the company yourself. Let's assume that your grandmother has invested in another sham vacation package. Plan your own trip on your own dime. Most hotels offer full refunds on booked rooms with relatively little notice. If your grandmother's trip somehow miraculously materializes, you should choose between them and take whichever honeymoon you want to take. Your grandmother didn't advise you about... Yeah, that's another thing. Like, this idiot is just like, oh, I'm going to buy a trip and you're going to go on it? Like, what kind of fucking idiot does that anyway?
Right, yeah.
Like, this person's stupid.
Well, I mean, I understand they thought it was a wedding gift, but...
Right, but that's like when the people are like, oh, I got you a dog or something. Is it like, what a fucking asshole thing to do?
Right, yeah.
Like,
a dog is like...
someone potential
I adopted a child for you. Here's the kid.
Right. We're crazy. Like, why would you buy a trip? Like,
thanks, Grandma.
And without even asking, oh, do you guys have your honeymoon figured out? Because I've got something I'd like to do something for you guys.
Yeah.
Not even ask. Like, what if they had it already paid for? What if another relative had done the same fucking thing?
Yeah, exactly.
The scam aspect of it isn't even the most retarded. Obviously, this woman's just an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. Just not very bright, clearly. Yeah. Wonder how much they spent on this. Numerous timeshare scams. Timeshares don't start at anything but hundreds to thousands of dollars.
Well, if it's a scam, they may have been like a couple grand here and there, and just for nothing.
Right, but still, a couple grand here and there.
No, I know.
Most people don't have that to lose.
No, it's ridiculous. But if you're on Social Security and it's like, oh, I've wasted my bingo money for the month.
Right? Yeah. God, that's another great thing too. You're on people on Social Security funding these Nigerian drug lords, essentially.
Right.
Aren't we glad we're paying for that?
Oh man. Great.
Wonderful.
Let's see. Old grievances. Godmother intervenes over best friend's drinking and nudity. that
sounds good. Like right material.
Yeah. All right, here, let's check that one. Just a second. Where is it? I lost it. Oh, here we go. Drinking and nudity.
Drinking and nudity.
Sounds like a fun night to me.
Right.
There's probably just some dude walking around naked and drunk and like his roommate or something.
Well, let's see.
All right. Let's go solve this person's problems too. Mm-hmm. I'm starting to notice a theme here, and what the fuck you should do is first just fucking say something and fucking do something.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Don't just get in here fretting. I see a lot of fretting.
Yeah.
And like, what do you think they're going to say? That you know what? I hear the Pope is going to be like, I hereby absolve you of any need to worry or do anything about this.
Yeah, exactly.
You may continue with your life.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Right.
You're going to have to say something, and you're going to have to fucking do something.
I know that we've got this situation where these are always going to be these kind of questions because of what it is.
It's like, say something, do something.
Well, no, I'm saying, like, I know these are always going to be relationship questions, what it is, but like, I wish I had these problems.
They're everything.
Right, but I'm saying, like,
I wish these are my only problems.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, my problems are not ones that can be solved by simply saying, like, you know, more finances. Just
if only I could sack up and say something.
Right,
my
yeah,
problem
exactly.
would be gone.
This never been my problem as much, you know, like...
Well, the point is that we're a little bit misrepresenting it. Like, that doesn't make the problem disappear. The problem is the problem is not going to disappear. And so the way to do it
Everyone
with the least amount of pain,
but you don't want to have the awkward
conversation. Like, if you have a wall, you got to knock down. You don't want to, and it hurts, like, to punch it. You don't want to be like, ow, 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 and tap it 1,000,000 times, barely making a dent. You're like, you know, you grit your teeth, blast a hole right through it with one punch, and get it over with.
Right. Yeah.
It's like sort of just like ripping the Band-Aid off. It's not just going to come off by itself. And like going, or spending 6 weeks Googling how to remove Band-Aid painlessly.
Right,
you know, just rip the fucking thing off.
Band-Aid. Yeah, well, I mean, like, in social situations, we've all been in the case where we don't want to have the awkward conversation, and we've avoided it more than we should have. Every human being has done that at some point. But the answer is...
Yeah, I'm not saying you should have to enjoy this.
Right.
Because you're not going to. There's a lot of things in life that are just like, fuck, and I have to deal with it.
Right, and a lot of these, too, they're not that bad of ones, because it's just like, you know, yeah, somebody's feelings get hurt. You got scammed again, Grandma. I know you meant it as a gift, but this, you know.
Yeah.
But that's the only way to solve the problem. Is either to look into it yourself and then tell her after you know, or to tell her ahead of time, I think we can't make plans around this because
I wish you would have told us. Yeah.
I wish you would have told us. Like, you know, don't feel bad, but...
I really appreciate the consideration,
gesture,
but I wish you would have told us because
this just conflicts with our plans.
Without asking us
without
first.
any confirmation.
Well, first, without even knowing that you did it. Like, what if they'd already had plane tickets? But I don't understand. Idiots to do that.
Bad. So maybe you do just say, what the fuck, Grandma?
Yeah, God damn it, Grandma.
How many times are you going to buy a Bahama timeshare?
Yeah, stop buying shit on the phone.
Right, yeah.
What an idiot. Here we go. I'm a godmother to a wonderful 7-year-old girl. Her mother is my best friend of 20 years. She's an excellent mom. I do not have any children. Recently, the three of us and a group of girlfriends, so this is all women, I guess, celebrated a ladies' weekend getaway. When we got to our destination, I overheard my goddaughter ask her mom if she was going to get drunk. My heart broke a little. Later, I was getting ready to join everyone in the pool when the child came running to me hysterically, crying that her mom was taking her clothes off. I peeked out the window and sure enough, her mom was topless. Honestly, it's not that big a deal among the adults, and not so much out of character for my best friend, but her daughter was freaked out. I told her...
All the best people have kids, right?
Yeah, I told her that mom was being silly and that she should talk to her about her worries. I don't think her 7-year-old should be just like having to talk it out with.
No,
she couldn't because she would get in trouble. She didn't want to return to the pool.
No, you don't make your kid. You don't make somebody's kid talk to their parents about their parents' bad behavior.
Yeah,
that's not how the authority system.
Not
works.
when it's a fucking 7-year-old.
No,
the person's like 25. That's one.
Right. Well, they're already their own adult.
That's what I mean.
But until like,
we don't tell children.
Like even if you're 18,
very young children.
You know. You
don't
possibly could, but it's still like you got no foot to stand on as the kid.
Well, it's not your business really. I mean, it's
right.
I mean, it's your business, but it's not your
it's not your place.
Really,
you don't have the authority. That's my point. Like the authority structure just doesn't go that way.
I mean, I don't think that someone should never say anything. If you're like 17 and your parents are doing ridiculously stupid shit,
you should say something. But I mean, like
something.
That's what.
But no one else should tell you to say something.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. If you are the kid and nobody else is saying anything, then you may have to.
But if you're an adult, you shouldn't be like, go tell your dad not to do this. You're an adult. You go fucking tell this other adult
that they're acting that
showing
kids know that it's going to be awkward and that the parents aren't going to listen.
If you're another adult and you see an adult acting, showing their ass, you don't tell their young kid to tell them. You go tell them.
You say, like, look, dude, you're embarrassing your child and you're embarrassing yourself. Like,
well, let's see what it says. She told Her mother came in about 20 minutes later. She told her daughter she was disappointed in her and that nude bodies were nothing to be ashamed of. What was upsetting to the girl was seeing her mom drunk, removing her swimsuit and behaving foolishly. She's probably doing all sorts of stupid attention.
So then using like not like a woman prone to topless sunbathing who's in like, don't be a prude, honey.
Well, I imagine if her mom was just like walking around topless all the time, the kid wouldn't have cared anyway.
Right, yeah. This
so
is some like supermodel who's
weird and crazy and drunk and the kid doesn't know what's going on.
Right, yeah. That's what I'm saying. There's like, context is key sometimes, you know, like...
And she said, I chimed in, bad idea, saying I couldn't, that's not a bad idea, saying I couldn't stand seeing this young girl be silenced about something that was bothering her. My best friend said, I'm trying to teach her that nudity is not shameful. She's very dramatic and freaks out about everything. I replied, you should have an internal barometer about what's minor and major in regards to her freaking out. She basically told me when I have kids of my own, I'm a perfect mother, I should talk to her then.
Right. That's always a nice one. People use that kind of thing where basically, what's right is right regardless of who's saying it, okay?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You know,
well, it's just a disqualification thing.
Exactly. That's all.
Like if Hitler said 2 + 2, then it's not true.
Right. Exactly. Like, Hitler
2 + 2 = 4. I didn't finish.
Yeah.
Like Hitler believed in math. Obviously, you like.
Right.
Well, 2 + 2 = 4. See, well, that was Hitler. You don't believe what Hitler says?
Right.
He hates Jews.
Right.
It
Yeah.
doesn't matter who said it. It's either defy the truth, defy the statement. If it's true. Or if it's false, prove it false. If not, who cares? Who gives a fuck who said it?
The correlation that most people are using for that disqualification is we know the people who have lived longer, done more, wise
obviously,
people.
If someone has said 100 things and 99 of them have been completely bogus, that's a good starting point for determining whether something is bogus or not. But it doesn't mean it. It doesn't mean that
one thing is bogus.
So
it could be true.
I mean, it means like, hey, I think you should check up on that because this guy has a history of saying wrong shit.
Bullshit,
but not like, oh, he said it, it's wrong.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly my point.
You may be like, I'm going to need to check on that. Right. Whereas if someone had said something and every time it's been right, then maybe you're not going to have to put as much effort
to avoid this person's commentary by using a disqualifier statement.
Right, they're just disqualifying.
Yeah. But anyway.
Which, in a way that doesn't really make sense.
No.
Yeah.
Like this person is observing
under that logic,
behavior.
no one who's actually ever done that, whatever it is, can ever say anything about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, women can never say anything about men doing anything. Men can never say anything about women.
Yeah, I guarantee you, she said stuff about that she's never done.
If you've never been a politician, you can't say what they should or shouldn't do.
Right.
You know, that's bullshit. Yeah, completely bullshit.
It falls apart.
If you're not a chef, you can't complain about them ruining your dinner. You can't complain about them ruining your dinner if you're not a chef. If you never worked in a restaurant before.
You're not the well, unless you're the chef and you cook perfectly. Why don't you keep your fucking mouth?
Exactly about this burnt steak.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Sir, there's a hair in my. Well, unless you're the chef.
Like you didn't actually finish the oil change. You a mechanic? Then shut the fuck up.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Anyways,
continue with the joke.
I think you tried to advocate for a young child who, as you say, was put down and silenced by her mother at a time when she was distressed. Nudity aside, your adult friend's choice to teach your child what it is to be drunk shows very poor judgment. A parent who is drunk cannot respond to a child's distress adequately. A child should not be punished for finding something upsetting. Yeah, I mean, it's a difference between like them being scared of something and be like, you need to face his fear and working with them.
Right. Yeah. I think that response is in the right vein, but it's ignoring the pertinent stuff, like her.
Oh, as always, these
women. A drunk adult can't notice a child's distress. Like,
well, it's taking away the agency from the person. Again.
Right. Well, no, it's not even that. It's like that's the important thing, that a drunk person can't notice a child's distress. No, what the point is that you are embarrassing your kid and setting a bad example.
Right.
Case done. If you want to get rowdy with the old friends,
then leave the kids
alone.
Leave the kid
alone.
Yeah,
exactly. Don't show them your ass.
Yeah, don't show your ass in front of a kid.
If your parent, there's a different matter if sometimes parents act a little funny, the dad's like singing and then the daughter's like, Dad.
Yeah, oh my God.
And
he's just like, no, I'm like singing in front of everybody. But that's different. That's not inappropriate behavior. Right, yeah. It's just goofy and embarrassing.
Right, yeah. That's just parents being goofy because they know it's going to
But if he pulled his dick out and was waving it around.
Yeah, they were like.
That reminds me of something.
Or like kids picking up their parents puking down their faces and their chests in the street. And they have to bear that embarrassment in front of all of the miscellaneous strangers. Like, the kid's embarrassed, and you are showing your ass.
Exactly.
It's how it's going.
But that reminds me of something that said, oh shit, what did you just say? Oh, I may have said this already, but it was like, if a girl walks in with her tits hanging out of her shirt, and I look, I'm a pervert. Right. If I walk in with my balls hanging out of my pants, and the girls look, I'm still the pervert. Yeah. It's like, I'm still the pervert.
Right, yeah. That's how it works, man. The man is always the pervert.
Right.
If a man does something wrong and no one's around to hear him.
Right. Or if a man does something and no one's around to hear him, is he still wrong? Right. I think that's a joke. You know, if a man says something in the woods and his
no
wife isn't
woman
around
to
it,
hear
or no
him.
woman's around to hear him, is he still around?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's enough advice dispensed for this week. At least, yeah, these people, if only they were listening, we could change their lives.
I will say, I was expecting more of the advice to be the part that I'm ripping apart than the questions.
Yeah.
Because I expected a lot of the advice.
Well, it's funny, like, you get
to
in these
be
situations
so blue pill
where...
stupidity. But it's been middling.
Yeah,
like,
it's
not
just
great.
It's
usually just, like you said,
lukewarm. Like
it's
they're a little bit too reluctant to take a hardline stance, obviously.
Exactly. And they're usually, the thing to me is that most people don't understand
the real fundamental
issue
behind
it's
why
like,
these things
for example,
happen.
that last one, like sometimes they say
Right.
like, oh, you can't notice the distress of a child when you're drunk. Well, yeah, but that's like a mechanical question, like you can't drive one when you're drunk.
Right.
Like, that's not
what you're
that's
dealing
not
with
the
here.
problem.
That wasn't even the question.
The question is, is it right to step in when a child is embarrassed by their parents' behavior?
Right.
If they are a person that you know, then yes. Like, if this person is your friend, you are their godparent, you're obviously involved in their life, you have a right to say, you're embarrassing yourself
Rights
and
aside,
it's hurting
if you
your
care,
kid.
then you should do something about it. Or at least attempt to do something about it.
But I'm saying it is both this person's place and...
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this person has a responsibility to do it.
But they have a right to do it if they wish to.
Just, yeah.
An opportunity.
Bottom line is rights, duty, whatever aside, you don't want this outcome, so fucking do something about it. You know,
exactly. But I'm saying,
you see something, say something.
Right, yeah.
Say something, do something.
Right. But it's like one of the cases where, like, yeah, this person's doing something that's obviously...
Well, it's just like with anything else, whether it's your life or someone else's. If the world isn't the way you want it to be, you have to either try to change it or shut the fuck up.
Or adapt, I would say, is that...
Well, I would consider that under doing something about it. You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like, you don't just sit there and like, whine about it. You either change it, or you just shut the hell up, and accept it the way it is. There's not really any other realistic options. It's just like we were talking about
it's actually realistic. Complaining about it is a realistic option. It's not a very useful one.
Yeah, it's like Chael Sonnen said. When people always say that failure is not an option, and he's like, that's bullshit. It's the easiest, most readily acceptable option, but it's a choice.
Right.
All right, so with that, we will call it a day. This is English Podcast.
Be sure to go to englishenglish.net.
.net.
Check out you can access this podcast through SoundCloud, YouTube. It'll link to our Twitter feed, which mostly just at this time puts out when notifications of the uploads. But we'll keep trying to add more content as we get more opportunities.
What we should do is just start and do the Mike Cernovich method and just go on there and say really controversial things in response to really famous people's tweets. And eventually we'll just get a bunch of
there you go.
followers.
That's a good. I like this one. You just find like famous people that say stupid shit, and then some nobody says something that BuzzFeed takes. Can you believe what this guy said?
Just 50 people respond to it, and then all the people reading that go up and see. 1% of the people that read it end up following you, and then you get thousands of subscribers.
Right. You get the people,
and it's all righteous truth anyway.
That righteous
you get a few,
funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Find you busting the chops of these stupid, comments.
So people start doing that. Take the danger and play tweeting technique. All right, we'll see you guys later.
Adios.